Je suis très heureux d'être ici ce soir au Ciné Lumière, parce que d'abord, je ne connaissais pas cet endroit et c'est quand même une salle magnifique. Et je me dis que nous, les Français, qui râlons tout le temps, on a quand même vraiment de la chance de pouvoir avoir un réseau comme ça de par le monde, des endroits, des petits comptoirs, où nous pouvons venir présenter nos films dans de très très bonnes conditions. L'affaire Farewell. Bon, alors l'affaire Farewell, voilà, c'est mon 3e film. Donc j'ai eu la chance déjà d'en faire 3, c'est énorme. J'ai fait un premier film qui s'appelle Une hirondelle a fait le printemps, je ne vais pas vous faire ma bio. Et puis Joyeux Noël. Et je voudrais saluer le mixeur qui est anglais, qui est Dina, qui est avec nous ce soir, qui était vraiment un ami et qui m'a fait un travail magnifique sur Joyeux Noël, mais il était beaucoup trop cher, je ne l'ai pas pris sur Farewell. Je voulais juste vous dire, voilà, ce soir nous avons 2 acteurs qui viendront après la projection pour discuter avec vous, et que je salue vraiment du fond du cœur, qui sont Dina Korzun, qui est russe, et David So, qui est américain. L'affaire Farewell est un film qui est basé sur une histoire vraie, une histoire qui a beaucoup pesé dans la chute du mur. Elle n'est pas la seule responsable de la chute du mur, mais aujourd'hui, tous les historiens sont d'accord pour dire qu'elle a quand même eu un impact terrible par rapport au KGB qui s'est retrouvé d'un seul coup quasiment à poil avec cette histoire. Et ça devenait très compliqué pour l'Union soviétique de maintenir le niveau. Donc voilà, je voulais non pas rendre hommage, mais simplement porter à la connaissance, comme on dit, du plus grand nombre, cette histoire secrète des services secrets français, parce que je la trouve vraiment extraordinaire et magnifique. I was fascinated by the idea that one guy in Moscow could say, I can change the world. And 3 months later, 2 presidents, the French, François Mitterrand, and Ronald Reagan have to meet each other because of him. But I was fascinated by this, you know. So I said to my producer, I need to see François Mitterrand and Ronald Reagan. And my wish, I remember a very great British movie named The Queen, and it was my, you know, my objective to be in this mood. I mean, not an imitation, just the fact you can see. Yes, I believe it can be François Mitterrand or it could be Ronald Reagan on the screen. I've been told that Ronald Reagan used to watch Western after big meetings. I said, why does he watch movies? And they told me it's just to be relaxed, to watch the movie. You know, he feel comfortable, feel quiet, and then he was able to think about all the things they told before, and you know, to make his own opinion. I said, okay, let's do it. But what he will see, we don't know. So that's why I've chosen this movie, The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, because I'm a big fan of John Ford, first. And second, because it makes sense. Because when you are on the James Stewart's side point of view, you believe one thing and you think it's the truth. And then John Wayne arrived and you understood that what you was thinking was wrong, and there is another truth. This is Farewell Affair. When you are from the French side, you believe one thing. And then the American side, it's another point of view. And the Russians have another point of view of the story, on the story itself. It's my way to tell you this is not a documentary. So I don't know. We know a lot of things about Farewell Affair, but not everything. And I love the idea that a secret affair can keep his secrets. You know that at the very beginning, I didn't want Emir. It was not my first choice. I wanted a Russian actor. And I found one in Moscow named Sergei Makovetsky, who is a great, great actor. And we start to repeat in Paris all together. And he was very enthusiastic. I remember he told me, I want to die at the end. Well, thank you. And so we started really to work on it, and it was really good. But one day, the Russian ambassador in Paris called him on his cell phone, and he told him, well, Sergei, you are an amazing actor, and the Russian people, they love you, and they are right, because you are very, very good. But the Russian people, they will never understand why you are shooting in a French movie and playing and defending a traitor. Think about it. So he went back to Russia, to Moscow, he called us back, and he said, okay, forget my number, forget my name, I do not exist, I don't want to do this movie. Because the Russian ambassador now is the Minister of Culture in Moscow, I mean in Russia. And so he was nominated very quickly after. So no Russian actor accepted to make the movie, to be a traitor. And even shooting in Moscow was not allowed because all the places I wanted to shoot, it's public places, and we have the official authorization. So with the KGB, you have to forget it. So 6 weeks before starting the movie, no main actor, main character, and no city. So I was so depressed because I really thought the movie was dead. But I came back and I proposed to the producer to work with an actor coming from an ex-East country, able to speak Russian, but not Russian. That's how the idea of Emir arrived. And I was very enthusiastic by this idea because Emir, as a director, everybody knows, but as a man, you know, he could be a good farewell. So I sent to him the script, he read it, and he called me back. He was really enthusiastic because of the private life of the guy and so on and so on. So we met and we said, yes, let's do it. And 2 days after he called me back, he said, by the way, I don't speak Russian and I don't speak French too. So it has been a very big nightmare for him to learn the languages, to learn the lines. Every morning he's coming on the set and asks me to make shorter the lines every day. And every day I say no. But he tried to do something. He didn't make any school of drama, nothing at all. And for Guillaume at the beginning it was a nightmare too. Because Guillaume is somebody very anxious. He needs to work to prepare himself a lot before. And with Guillaume, with Emir, you can forget. There is no preparation because he's the guy, he didn't know what he will do 3 hours later. So it was very strange. And at the very beginning, the couple between the 2 actors, it didn't work. And I said, wow. But after 4 or 5 days, he started to find something, how to play it, to find a solution, and then we can do the movie.
I got a call from Susie Figgis, from the casting director through my agent.
Yeah.
I flew to Paris, and we had a lovely lunch together.
Yeah.
And I think that was that, and I just think the story itself is such a powerful piece and statement of that particular time, and very important kind of story to tell, particularly the human story.
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of things you want to be involved with. So there was no question in my mind. And it was a delight to work with. You mentioned how well prepared. And indeed, when you are well prepared, you can relax with your people. And that was one of the things that was so much fun to come to work for Christian, because he was well prepared. So he was never threatened.
Yeah.
And you could always contribute something, or if you had a question, you wanted to change, you wanted to add, no problem. We could talk about it, and then of course there was a problem. He'd say no. But no, it was a wonderful experience. My character is a nondescript character in the sense that
not the way you
it
play
wasn't. In the sense that he's not any particular person that we would know. But I thought Fred did a marvelous job of giving an essence or an element of Reagan without being Reagan.
I told you the Russian ambassador now is the Russian Minister of Culture. We tried to make a release in Moscow because it was my dream at the beginning. I told to the Russian people, I met Nikita Mikhalkov. You know him as director, producer, and actor. And at the beginning he was very enthusiastic. He wanted to be our co-producer. But with the Russian ambassador, after he changed his mind. But,
year of France and Russia.
Yeah, this is a lovely year of friendship between France and Russia. Okay, So it's a good time for me, you know, to try to make a release of this movie in Moscow. But there is a festival in Moscow, very, very important, and we propose the movie. The people who watch every movie watch the movie, and they call us and say, yes, it's amazing, let's make the opening with it. And I said, yes, you should check first in Moscow if everything is okay. 3 days after I called back, he said, no, we met the Minister of Culture, and he said, I alive. Never. So we will never have any release in Russia. Never.
Unfortunately, everyone will get it on pirate discs, and everyone will see it. So it's no problem for me. Can I work in Russia? Of course. Nobody calls me, and I don't know how I would react. Well, I guess I would be scared, but I'm a very independent person, and my role is very simple. I played just woman in love, nothing really dangerous. So I guess I would do it anyway.
Joyeux Noël was very special for me because, you know, I was born in the north of France, and my parents were farmers. And in our fields, every time we had some details of the past. I mean, shells, clothes, cigarettes of the First World War, still now. So we always were thinking about the First World War. It was not the past, it was my youth. And when I discovered Christmas truce, which I didn't know, and I discovered that the French army tried to do its best to never let you know it happened. I mean French people. That's why I decided to make the movie. So I have a, you know, in my, here written, this is the truth. But with Farewell, it's absolutely different. First of all, it's not a personal project. We were coming back from the Oscars with the nomination of Farewell in 2006, and in the play, my producer gave to me a draft named Bonjour Farewell, the first draft of the movie, which is not the one you see. And in reading it, I said, I know the story. I heard about it. And I was so fascinated by this story that I said, okay, let's do it, but in another way than the first script. So to answer to your question, no, I wouldn't. My next movie is not a historical movie. I hope to shoot it next spring. It's about corruption. So I will have a lot of friends in France. In France, we are not able to give any lesson to any country about corruption. I think so. Maybe I'm very naive, but I think we have to be naive to make movies. And like Merry Christmas, with Merry Christmas, I went to Germany, I went to Great Britain, and I told them, this story is, we have to share the story because it's with some German, French, and British people, Merry Christmas. So when I discovered the story of Farewell, I went directly to Moscow. I met Nikita Mikhalkov. And at the beginning, to be honest, he wanted to be Farewell himself. But because I said to him, we have to do the movie to tell to the people what happened. It's an amazing story, and so on and so on. So I was very naive, yes. But now I understood one thing. What I understood is Farewell Affair is not dead, because all the people now in the Russian government, you know, are coming from the ex-KGB. So they know very well Farewell Affair, because it was the worst nightmare of the whole history of KGB. Because of all information he gave, and because he did it with no money, by idealism, to destroy the system. So there is a before and an after Farewell Affair in KGB.
I don't think Americans have ever been, particularly as a general statement, I don't think they've ever been on top of things that are happening in the world. If it doesn't happen here, it doesn't happen. You know, it's the basic point of view. And that's a generalization, because there are obviously a lot of people who do care and who are involved.
Yeah.
But I think during that period, you know, the popularity of Ronald Reagan was so extraordinary during that period. You know, you didn't look through the cracks. You just saw the facade. It really resonates, this story resonates with me because I grew up in Berlin in 1949 to 56. And my father worked with refugees, putting families together. And so he had to develop relationships with the communist East German government. And of course, when he got home, he was called a communist by the same people I've been talking about before, because he had worked with East German officials. Therefore, he must be a commie. Well, he certainly wasn't.
Yeah. And again, it's the ignorance of the people who were calling him such. Yeah.
I tell you a story. I was writing the script at home, and sometimes during the evening, some people call me at home. My number is unknown, but they get the number. Okay. And they call me. And I remember one called me and he said, "Are you working on Farewell Affair?" Yes. You're right, it's an amazing story. Personally, I know 2 or 3 things you should know. Would you accept to have a coffee with me in Paris? I said, yeah. So I drank a lot of coffees with many people. Well, 5, 6 persons coming, I think, from the French Secret Service. And the first one, the first question he asked me, so he said, "Farewell is dead." I said, yes. Okay, but did you see the body? I said, well, no one saw the body. We just have a paper from the KGB to his wife telling he's dead. He said, okay, well, if the KGB told you he's dead, he must be dead. So I said, okay, let's talk clearly now. If you're telling me he's living in South America and making a lot of pizzas, everything is possible. And he said, that's the point. With the Secret Service, everything is possible. And he paid his coffee and disappeared. So, to be honest with you, I met some people who think he's not dead. And I think he's dead, but I can prove it because we don't have anybody. That's why in the movie you don't see the body. You can imagine he's dead, but maybe he's not. This story is based on a true story, but I make some changements because I don't make a documentary. Because, first of all, I think it's impossible. And because it's impossible to tell exactly what happened because we don't know exactly. We know everything about the 2 presidents because there are lots of witnesses now. But in Moscow, wow. Just to finish, I met some people close to François Mitterrand who still now think there is no farewell affair. They think that Americans make believe to French they have an amazing mole just to test if the French communist socialist president will give all the information to the USA to test his loyalty. And François Mitterrand himself died with his idea. So to tell you how paranoid were these 80s, in fact. True story, there was one guy first, yes, like in the movie, an engineer, so an amateur, French touch. And he's 80 now, he's retired. 80, he was older than Guillaume, because I wrote the script for Guillaume. He was one of my best friends. And so I make a very private screening for the French Secret Service retired of the farewell affair. There were 6. So I was, very nervous, because it's a very special audience. And after the screening, I went, and I said, Pierre, what do you think about the movie? And he said, oh, I love the work of your DP. Okay, I'm going to tell him. But about the movie himself, and he talked about the music, he talked about everything. And at the very end, he said, I'm very badly parked. I have to go now. So we don't know anything. The only thing he told me is the guy who is on the screen is the guy I met. Idealistic, patriotic, naive, and very warm in sort of way. That's the only thing he told me. It was enough for me. In fact, so because of Moscow was not allowed, so we shot in Ukraine, Kiev, Kharkov, and in Finland for the winter. But I was so depressed not to have Moscow that we decided to steal 5 shots. So we decided we were free, and we went to Moscow under another name of a production, officially to prepare a commercial for Coca-Cola. When you say Coca-Cola, every door are opening. It's magic. And in Moscow, we were working with a marvelous young Russian producer, a woman, and she has an amazing idea. She rent a cop under the table, you know, with a uniform. And the job of the guy was, during 4 days, just standing close to the camera on the sidewalk with a uniform. That's why no one asks any question. It must be official when you have a cop and a camera. So you can shoot the Kremlin, you can shoot some bridges I wanted to have, the statues of the Red Army, and a nice building, a University of Lomonosov. With 5 shots we took back to Paris, we make the editing with a shot coming from Ukraine, and that's it. I told you we know everything about the 2 presidents. In Moscow, for example, we knew that the French guy, Farewell, loved the French culture. Okay, but what? I didn't know. So I imagined something. I imagined he would love a poem named The Death of the Wolf, because it's my favorite poem. You know, when you don't know, you take your own taste. I remember in 1981 I was 18, and I used to listen to Freddie Mercury every day. So that's why I wanted to see Freddie Mercury on the screen, almost naked, and then singing "We Will Rock You." It makes sense. But I love Léo Ferré too. You know, some kind of details. But the main point is at the end, because we don't know exactly why Farewell has been discovered. How? The only thing is I discovered that the guy in Moscow who discovered Farewell in the KGB, 1 month after the death of Farewell, he went to the USA. And I said to myself, it's very strange, you know. He's going to USA, it must be someone who worked with the CIA. So I start to think about this option, this you know, version, my version, I mean, the CIA tried to protect the other moles by giving a name, which is very common, to sacrifice one guy to protect the others. That's what I think, but I can't prove it.
Please thank Dina and David and Christian. Thank you very much.